Hello, Internet, and welcome to episode 186 of Verbal Graffiti with your host, Brian Glass, a.k.a. the B-Man, the People's Degenerate, Ella Knox. Let me say her name one more time. Ella Knox. Do you know who she is? If you do, you're a real one. If you do not, you're a saint. You're probably going to go to heaven. Ella Knox, as far as I know, is an adult performer. She creates smut videos, or stars in smut videos, or is a co-star in these smut videos that some of us look at on the internet, or maybe even DVD if you're a real one, if you're from the 20th century, or you're nostalgia and you get yourself a DVD. I don't think there's any VHS tapes with Ella Knox because she was born maybe early 2000s, maybe late 90s. So that's post VHS. That's not. All right, enough with the history of the smut, B-Man. Get to the point. I wasn't expecting to open episode 186 talking about Ella Knox because we got a lot of smut to discuss in this this episode 186. So I was going to open with something a bit more tame. But the heart wants what the heart wants, or the mind thinks about what the mind is thinking about. And my heart and my mind are worried together in tandem. Let's get to it. Ella Knox is one of my favorite adult performers of all time. I believe she's Mexican, maybe Ecuadorian, short, 5'2", 5'3", very top heavy, busty. You know, that's what the B-Man likes. Busty Latinas in their fertility prime. Of age, of course, but just get that disclaimer out of the way. But, I was on her subreddit recently because I have not seen many new videos on Reddit or at other nefarious sites of Ella Knox the past year or so. I know I've hawked my dick loogie to her, but they've been from videos I've previously seen before. So I'm double dipping with the Ella Knox video. So I go to her subreddit because not so much to look at videos of her, but to get information about her. Because the smut stars of the net, their subreddits, are of superfans. So if you might be surprised, it's not actually all smut on those ladies, those babes, those starlets subreddits. A lot of times it's information about her personal life or their professional life, like where they're going to be for signings and events and all that jazz. But with Ella Knox, somebody put a post on Reddit asking, is Ella retired? Has she hung up her stilettos? Is she gone for good? Is she retired from the game, the smut game, that is. And that kind of like stuck with me because I've been thinking of that as well of late. Where's Ella Knox? I'm not seeing new videos of her. Has she retired? That'd be very upsetting to me. I understand. You know what? I don't understand. For some reason, as head deep, as head deep as I am into the world of smut, for some reason, I did realize I do have a blind spot, and maybe it's the idealism of the B-Man. I am a dreamer. I'll admit that. I have positive thoughts. For some reason, I always think or assumed that once you get into smut, if you stay in it for longer than a year, you're in it for life. Right? There are no 5 to 7 year sentences in my mind. But now I'm realizing that's a blind spot, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Right? I just assumed, you get in, you don't like it, you dip out and hope no one sees your videos. Or if you're in, you love it, then you're in it for life. They get very black and white. But like most of life, there is this gray area. And, not everybody in smut is Lisa Ann, Ava Adams. And not everybody evolves from barely legal stepdaughter to the MILF category, to the GILF category. There are people, actually most smut stars probably to use an analogy, are probably like NFL running backs, short careers, 2, 3, 4 years is probably the average for the smut star. And Ella Knox, I'm just guessing. I'm guessing she's probably been in the game five-ish years or so, doing mainstream smut, that is. So it would be, like, it would seem like that is the point where most smut stars get out. They either get sick of the business, maybe they make their money and they don't feel like they need to do any more videos for us Johns, or maybe they just take so much from the business beats them down that enough. I'm just going to walk away before something more dangerous or something more tragic happens to me. And I'm sad. I'm saddened because my favorite smut star may be gone forever. And I appreciate her videos with my dick loogies, but I didn't really appreciate them. Like I gave myself the gasm to her and her content, Ella Knox, that is, but there wasn't a hey, this might be the last time. You know, when you see a family member or sibling or a relative and you say, I love you, and you think, wow, that might be the last time I see that person. I never did that with Ella Knox because I'm an idealist. I always thought there would always be a next video that she would perform in. And now I'm realizing that might not be the case, or she might be retired. I don't know. She's not active on social media. I've seen no press releases. I go by me and other friends of hers are asking questions like, where are you? And none of us know. So she's clearly not doing smut videos. So it saddens my heart. It saddens my mind. It saddens Mr. Perfect, my wiener, whom I love very much. The both of us love Ella Knox. It reminds me of Christina Miller, who was one of my favorite smut stars, who she retired as well. Now, her name is it's misleading, because Christina Miller, you think very white, probably her family lineage came over on the Mayflower to the U.S., or the land that would become the United States of America. But no, she's a Filipino or some type of Asian. Sometimes it's hard to decipher between one Asian country and the other in terms of looks. But she was very, like Ella, very busty and very vocal. And she did a lot of hardcore videos, which I'm not really into, the hardcore. But she performed greatly in them. But there's something about the smut world that's been on my mind, thinking about Ella Knox, that is, that doesn't, the spikes of emotions when you're a fan of a smut star, a starlet of the adult industry, that doesn't get discussed. I haven't heard this discussed anywhere on the internet, and that's where I spend most of my time, is on the internet, other than when I'm doing stand-up comedy in front of real people. See, Christina Miller, beautiful babe, I've mentioned her before. Lovely lady, what a glowing personality, matches perfectly with her vagina. She, every once in a while, like, I know she's retired from the game, but I'll see a new video of her pop up, Reddit, one of the hub sites, maybe on X, and I get excited. Right, my balls start to pulsate. I feel, you know what, guys, we have balls, but you don't always feel your balls unless you're thinking of them. Similar to breathing, you breathe and you don't know you're breathing until someone mentions it, and then that's all you can think about. Same thing with your balls. The balls are there, but as men, we don't really notice our balls unless somebody points out or mentions something about our balls. They are ever present, but hardly ever thought about. At least my balls. And I love my balls. But my balls, every time I see a video of Christina Miller that I've never seen before, it's just my balls. I feel my balls. Because I get hyper excited. Oh, is Christina back? Is Christina Miller back in the smut game? And I there's a giddiness. my heart skips a beat. It's exciting. It's the Grinch, when his heart grows 3 times the size of what it originally was. That's what my penis does when I think I see a new Christina Miller video. But each time that happens, like I do some research and I realize, no, the B-Man is wrong. My hopes are destroyed. My dreams are crushed back to reality. That's this cold life that we're living. And that the video of Christina Miller that I'm seeing is just a video she made before she retired when she was in the game that I never previously saw. And I've seen most of her videos. So it's like, oh, that got me excited to see a new video of her. And of course, I hawk my dick loogie to her in honor of her talents, or honor of her talents, or just appreciation of her talents from a John to an actress. But then after I did that, but there's that emptiness. It just comes crashing back and it hits you like it just hits you, like a brick, like just a cold steak slapping you across the face. Like, oh no, she's not back. It's just there's no new content. That doesn't get talked enough about. That doesn't get mentioned nearly as much as it should for us Johns. Like that's a big sway in emotions, and having to deal with the highest of high to the lowest of low in a matter of minutes. It is just, oh wow, Christina Miller, she's back, but then you realize, oh no, she's not back, and that's just me. Those are 2 stars, Ella Knox, Christina Miller. I'm sure you have your starlets that you thought got back in the game, but like me, you realize, oh no, that was just an old video, and you're crushed. And you gotta go to work. You gotta go to work, or you gotta go to school, or you have obligations that you need to attend to. You can't call up. You can't call up your employer or email your boss at 7:30 a.m. if that's when you're watching your smut, getting, relieving yourself of all your goo, and tell your manager, like, hey, I can't come in today. I need a mental health day because the smut star, Christina Miller, who was my favorite, I thought she's back in the game, but now I realize she's not back in the game, and now I'm mentally not in the right state of mind to perform my job throughout the day, so I need a mental health day today. You can't do that. You can't, at least in corporate America, you can't do that. You can't even admit that you watch smut, so you can't send a long email asking for a mental health day, reason being my smut star no longer makes videos, and I'm heartbroken over it. Like, you can't, even if you get broken up with in a real, that you're actually in a real relationship with a real other person and you get broken up, like maybe you could take the afternoon off, but you're still expected to go to work. I do like to think of myself as pro-capitalism. I love capitalism. I think it's capitalism. It's amazing. It is amazing. Someone explained it to me. Capitalism, you think of a pencil and how much that should cost. You think, well, I cut down a tree, find some lead or whatever they use now for a pencil. You got to get some rubber, a little bit of glue, or that little bit of metal that connects the rubber eraser to the pencil. And then you got to shave it all down. And then you'd be like, wow, how much, like that, when you really think about how much it goes into making a number 2 pencil, you would think, well, that's got to be at least $100. But because of capitalism and all the different entities that go into making a pencil and manufacturing the pencil, it's 10 cents. Maybe with inflation, maybe it's 25 cents for a number 2 pencil. But that's the amazingness of capitalism. Everybody always bemoans the poor and the needy. But we're all born as a naked baby. So that there are people out there who have this thing called wealth. Like that was conjured up out of nothingness. And that's the magic of capitalism. But the more I think about Ella Knox and previously Christina Miller, like having to go to work every day, even when you get the high of high, and then just crashing back to reality that no, that was a former video. That's not a new video. That's not a new creation. And having to suppress those emotions and do your daily tasks, whatever they are, for whatever employer's paying you. That's cruel, man. That's a mind fuck. That is a flaw of capitalism. I can't deny that. And the more I think about it, the more depressed I'm getting. So let's move on, shall we? I hope you can, before we move on, I hope you can sympathize with the John like me, like the B-man. You know, a lover of smut. It's not all gasms and jigglers. There's some heartache that comes in to viewing the smut. Moving along. This comes from the subreddit No Fap Christians. Please pray for me. I'm starting to backslide. I was exposed to porn when I was 12. I believe I masturbated around 3 to 4 times a week. This continued for almost 2 years, where I could no longer take it and admitted what I was dealing with my pastor. Oh boy, don't do that. We met for a few weeks and then I was free, and I went through all of high school without masturbating. Wow. But as of last year, I've been struggling. Temptation suddenly hit like a wave, and I started masturbating again. It's only once or twice a month, but I really hate that this is happening. Please pray for me. I'm a 19 BTW, which means by the way. Okay, the B-man. All of us here at Verbal Graffiti, please take a knee, bow your head, and say a prayer for this guy who's given in to temptations. Our Father, throughout in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Deliver us from temptation, and please deliver us from evil. Amen. Our Father, Hail Mary. Those are the only 2 prayers I remember from when I went to catechism. I did go to catechism when I was a kid, up through 10th grade. I am confirmed, but Our Father, all right. I think I gotta get I need to get better with my prayers. But again, as we all know, I cannot remember the lyrics to songs, which I enjoy. So remembering the words to a prayer, it's intellectually, mentally, I don't have that capability to do that. But hey, the first few verses of Our Father, I still know. A tip of my penis to myself. I'm proud of myself for that. No, for you, no, I'm not going to give you any more prayers than that. Really, you just need to grow the fuck up, is what you got to do. All right? If you're masturbating 3 or 4 times a week as a 19-year-old and you're asking for prayers, then the B-man, I need Jesus to rise the second time. That's what I need. I need a saint to come back to earth, come back alive, and help me out. Because if you think you're struggling, the B-man, I'm drowning. I'm drowning in the temptations. That's silliness. Like 3 to 4 times a week as a 19-year-old, that is nothing to worry about. That's probably on the low end. I mean, I've hawked my dick loogie the last 2 nights in a row. Last night, I was a little tired. Like, it's midnight. I'm like, just go to bed. Just go to bed. You don't need to do this. And I'm like, no, I got to do this. I'm young. I'm spry. I'm healthy. I'm still horny. So I'm going to hawk my dick loogie to some GIFs that I find on Reddit, and then open up a Red GIF for the sound of those videos. So I'm right there with you. 41 years old. I'm probably 2, 3, 4 times a week. So that's nothing. Nothing to be ashamed about. although you are a Christian and it is November, and clearly you are ashamed of what you're doing. So from my perspective, you should not be ashamed, but from your perspective, you are ashamed. So let's try to help you out. And first of all, we got to talk about going to your priest and talking to him about your masturbation habits when you were younger. I guess 12 or 13 years old, I'm guessing. What are you doing? What are you doing? If you were doing this in the 80s or the 90s, it'd be excusable. But in the year 2025, or when you were that age, the 20-aughts, the 20 teens, there's no excuse to talk to your priest about masturbation. Like, we know what priests like, or a certain percentage of them. So it's almost like, can you really blame a priest in 2025 if a 12-year-old boy in puberty starts talking about what he's masturbating to and how often he's doing it, and then the priest does something illegal or horrendous to the boy? He's like, yeah, the priest is in the wrong. 100% should go to jail for life. But even as a 12 or 13-year-old, you know the history of the priesthood and the church. So you should not be talking about that topic with your priest. So I'm just saying, yeah, he should go to prison, the priest, but you should also do some time for entrapment after you do your therapy and counseling, and hopefully you're able to get your mind right. Hopefully your priest didn't do anything. And again, to be man, I do not know the difference between a priest and a pastor. Similar to me trying to say to Our Father, you could probably guess I'm not an expert when it comes to religions and all the laws and all that jazz. So, it's so weird. You're so down on yourself, and I'm actually so impressed with how much restraint you've showed at such a young age. You know, you're a young man, 19. You mentioned you went all of high school without any goo-goo out of your pee hole. I mean, that in and of itself is a miracle. They should make you a saint for going all of high school without getting any goo-goo out of your pee hole. That's 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, 4 years. Your testosterone through the roof. That's great. You're getting pubic hair. You're growing up. Puberty, testosterone, the girls, the high school, the whole, that age. Not pleasing yourself. And I'm assuming you weren't fucking anybody during that time period as well. So you weren't getting any action with yourself with all that temptation, walking up and down the hallways every day, every morning, every afternoon, in between each period. You're a saint. I don't know how you become a saint, but given your resume and your record, I'd recommend you for sainthood. That is amazing. That's nearly impossible to do that. Wow. I'm flabbergasted. Good for you. Good for you. A tip on my penis for you. It does bring conjure up a memory of my own. It does bring it back to the B-Man for a little bit. I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but I was masturbating when I was your age. Middle school, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, I was masturbating way too much. I knew it was a problem. I enjoyed it, but I knew it was a problem. So I went the whole summer between 8th and 9th grade without touching myself. I lasted 2 days in high school, in 9th grade, before I gave in and started masturbating regularly again. So I lasted 2 days. You lasted 4 years. You have far more control over your urges than the B-Man does. But again, I'm a hedonist, and clearly you are not. Although you're giving in to temptation now. How do we solve your problem? I don't think the church is going to help you at all. You're probably not going to get married. Let's just be real. You're on a NoFap Christian subreddit. You're worried about masturbating. You're too much in your head about it. You got There's a stink coming off of you. No babe is ever going to want to have a family with you, so you're never going to have kids. Right? You're never going to have a babe. You're never going to have you're never going to have a loving relationship. You're never going to get to experience intimacy physically and mentally. You're never going to have that. You're the type of John when you're walking down the street, babes cross the street and avoid making eye contact with you. And that's just who you are. So my solution to you, become a eunuch. Castrate yourself. Is it a bit extreme? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. But again, you're never going to get married. No babe's ever going to accept your proposal. Like, no one's ever going to want to be in a relationship with you, so you're not going to fuck the rest of your life. And clearly masturbating is something that gives you shame. So chemically castrate yourself. There, you cut your balls off, you'll no longer have any urges, you'll stop masturbating. That's the only way. That's the only way to defeat the devil and that testosterone that's consuming you. There's no other way. The only way is to cut your balls off. Is that how they do chemical castration? Cutting the balls off? Or do you just take a pill and then you're... However it's done. Become a eunuch, castrate yourself, and you'll have no more urges. You're welcome. Let's go look at some photos. Verbal Graffiti, episode 186, segment 2. Please remember to share an episode or a reel with your favorite OF creator or cam girl or a barista or correctional facility officer. What's the name? The people who work at the prisons. Whatever they're called, correctional officers. Share a reel of verbal graffiti with them. I'm just stalling because the first segment went long. So let's get into something else I found on Reddit that we can discuss, or that I'll discuss, because it's verbal graffiti and I don't have a co-host. I do all the talking here. That's why I enjoy it so much. Although I don't like to. All right, let's get to the fucking post. All right. Oh, open it. Okay. I don't know the name of the subreddit, but let's get to it. Hiring 2 experienced OnlyFans chatters, $2 an hour plus $10 commission, a long-term position. We are a fast-growing OnlyFans agency looking for 2 experienced and motivated chatters to join our team. This is a permanent role for life. We want people who are serious about working with one agency long term. Available shifts: Sunday, day shift, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., night shift, 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. Pay and benefits: $2 hour base pay, a $10 commission on sales. Wonder how that works. Bonus rewards for top performers, clean structure and growth opportunities, supportive professional team. Requirements: experience in relationship style chatting, OnlyFans, dating apps, etc. A strong written English and fast replies. Ability to stay in character, e.g. a girl next door type, style. A reliable, consistent, and professional. Must use WhatsApp and be responsive. How to apply? And then they give a number. I'm not ashamed to admit this, but that the B-Man's first introduction that is, to the internet was AOL lesbian chat rooms in the year 1997. So I do have plenty of experience pretending to be a character that I am not. So I do think I'm highly qualified for this role to be an OnlyFans chat creator, pretending to be the lady who's on the screen. Now, for $2 an hour, though, I can't bite. What? Kick me in the balls. Why don't you, while you're at it, and call me a clown? I can't. $2 an hour, you're not going to find a real one for $2 an hour. I mean, the Tooth Fairy pays $5 per tooth today. So you're paying less than the Tooth Fairy? I'm not going to hand in my resume for this role. Cannot do it for $2 an hour. You might as well just offer me a bottle of water, unopened bottle of water. That'd be better than $2 an hour. It's funny. It's not funny, but it does conjure up memories of when I started stand-up comedy. I believe the year was 2012-ish. And at the time, like late night television was on its way out, but still prevalent. Like Conan, Letterman, I'm not sure who the other guys who were on at that time. But I remember like that was a not so much like those roles, like the late night star, but being a writer for the star, like writing jokes for Letterman or Conan O'Brien for their late night shows. Like that was a job that a lot of comedians sought after. That was a big get. If you were a writer for a late night show, like you kind of made it. Maybe not as a known comedian, but you were in, like you were in the world of comedy. Like you were a professional comedian, like making a living writing jokes. But it was never a job I sought after. And at the time, I was a dog shit comic, so I never would have gotten hired. So I never did send in a pamphlet or a portfolio of my work, or attempted to, that is, because it just seemed so sad to me. Like the whole, it went against my comedy ethos, which are to be authentic, original, and righteous. So writing in the voice of somebody else, a Conan O'Brien, a David Letterman, that goes against all of my ethos. Like writing in somebody else's voice, writing jokes, thinking of like what the jokes that the late night host would like, or any host on TV, that goes against everything I believe comedy should be. So even though that job pays very well, or at the time it did in 2012, like I think it was a low 6-figure paying job, structured schedule, like 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, benefits, a bit of prestige, getting to work in New York City or LA, and it just, hey, I'm a writer for a late night show. Like that could get you some pussy. Like, even though all those things were perks for the job, it gave the B-man the heebie-jeebies. Like it almost like you get trapped. Like, yeah, now you're writing in David Letterman's voice, but then you kind of lose your own voice because you're always thinking of jokes with him in mind, or whoever the host would be. So it was always, I never begrudged that. And I do know some comics who went on to do that job. And I never begrudged them for doing so because, again, it's a good paycheck, it's an easy gig, and there's something, you get pussy doing it. But yeah, it's just something I never sought out. I don't want to do that. But oddly enough, this job, this role, right, like being a chat room, pretending to be a lady in a chat room with the Johns and all that, and pretending to be a lady and write messages to the Johns and try to extract more money from them with her personality, or writing with what the Johns want to hear from her. Like, that is something that that's a job. Like, I was born to do that job. If there's anything 180 plus episodes of Verbal Graffiti has taught us, or should have taught you, is that, like, I have the mind, or at least I know how Johns, how perverts, how panty sniffers, how incels, how gooners think. Like, I know the inner workings of their mind because in many ways I am one. I represent them. I know what they want to hear from an OF creator, from a chat, from a cam girl, from a lady of the night, from a smut creator. I know what they want to hear because I'm one of them. Some of the Johns call me their leader. I reject that. I am just one of you. We're all in this together. I'm not married. I'm single. I don't even have a girlfriend. I don't even have a friend. I have nothing right now. It's me and Mr. Perfect. My hand and Mr. Perfect. But I know married people. Like, I'm one of you, right? Well, when your family goes to sleep at night and your wife falls asleep or your girlfriend falls asleep beside you, you sneak off to the bathroom to rub one out to an OF creator because, she's giving you more satisfaction than your wife did the night you got married. And that's why you're willing to give this stranger over the screen internet coins. That's why you're willing to put the money that should be going towards your groceries and your mortgage and your car payments. You're giving it to the floozy because he's giving you the feels that your wife or your girlfriend never gave you or gave you for a few months, and now you're just living in a dead bedroom. So I know that. I know that plight. I know what you want to hear. Like, I was born for this role. So unlike the late night shows, I would be thrilled to be the wordsmith behind the tits and ass, right? Yeah, I guarantee you give me a bodacious babe with some nice tits and ass, some TNA, a bubbly personality. We team up together. She does all the video, all the seduction, and I'm the wordsmith behind her, tapping the keyboard. Creating the messages, stringing the Johns along, and keep getting those internet coins from them. We, the two of us together, a tag team, we could get to the 0.01% of OF creators money wise. There's no doubt in my perverted mind that we could get there. Now the only thing is, I'm like my heart, my sympathy goes out to the OF creators using this agency for messaging on their OF page, because they're not going to give you their all. This agency, they're probably promising you, your own private island. It's not going to happen. They're paying guys $2 an hour to write messages for you. You're not going to get what you're worth. Or however much you're paying the agency, you're not going to get your money's worth. You're going to lose subscribers. You're going to have to close down your OF page and become a dental hygienist. It's just, my heart goes out to these OF creators who are using this agency, or who are being tricked by this agency and believe that, wow, we're going to have people write for you, so you're not going to have to think about that. Do not, if you're hiring an agency, as an OF creator, that is, do the background check on the agency, because this agency, no good. No good. Fugazi. They're going to pull the rug. They're going to steal your money that you're making with your vagina. I don't like it. Like I said, it gives me the heebie-jeebies. You need the B-man. You need a man like mine. There aren't many men like the B-man who could type messages pretending to be you via OF. There are a few men like the B-man who can create messages like me. Without a doubt. I could be the mind behind your TNA. So this is my, what is this? This is my not resume. It's just me. This is me making a proclamation to any OF creator with some nice TNA watching right now or listening right now, the B-man. I'll be the writer. I'll be the keyboard expert writing messages in your voice to extract those internet coins from the Johns, because I can do it better than anybody else. But I need more than $2 and more than 10%, whatever that is. I need half the proceedings. You should get 60-40. You get 60%, I get 40% of the money. We'll become millionaires together. And I really do believe it. This is not a dog and pony show. I'll put my effort into it. I'll work full time for you. But this is a partnership. I'm not an employee. This is a business operation. We are business partners. Because I know what they want to hear. I know how to string the Johns along. Now, give them a little, the push and the pull, push, pull. It's got my creative juices going. Right? I move. Yeah, I want to write messages for an OF creator. But again, I can't do it for $2 an hour. 60-40. That's a fair offer. Go suck a fat one.